What's good, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. We've officially made it to the WNBA semifinals, and the first round. What a first round was! It was absolutely insane. We had comebacks, upsets. We had some seriously clutch moments as well. The top teams had to fight their way to get through, for their lives, and the championship picture now looks a little completely different than it did just a few weeks ago. We've got two incredible series ready to go. The top seeded Minnesota Lynx, Napheesa Collier against the Phoenix Mercury, with AT at the helm. And of course, the Las Vegas Aces with the one and only A'ja Wilson taking on the Indiana Fever with Aliyah Boston. Let's get into it and break down what went down and also what's next. First up, the Lynx and the Mercury. The Lynx were the only team to get a sweep in the first round, but it was anything but easy against the Valkyries. So exactly what did the Lynx do, and what did they show us against the Valkyries? That we should feel good about what they did. So they showed us that they're a tough, resilient team. That squad doesn't give up. They don't quit. In game two, they were down, big, but they kept clawing back. Napheesa Collier, was a beast, but in this round. She's in this coming round against Phoenix. She's going to need to take her game to another level. She can't play like that. She'll have to play better. They also need more from Kayla, who's a proven, playoff performer. She's clutch, but she too will have to play much better. They showed that they can even win when things get ugly, but my big concern with them is really it comes down to the slow starts. They can't get off to a slow start. They were outscored by a combined 16 points in the first quarter of their two games against Golden State. They can't keep doing that. They can't against a smart veteran team like the Mercury. If they fall behind that early, in this series, it's going to be a wrap. It will be quick and easy. They need to come out with fire right from the start and right from the jump. No mess around. Now, on the other side of the ball, let's talk about Phoenix, who had a tough 3-game series against the defending champion New York Liberty. What a series that was. Shouts out to Stewie, by the way. And they looked phenomenal. What they did and what they showed, they showed that they've got some serious talent and know-how, and know-how. Alyssa Thomas was legendary in Game 3 with a triple-double. She played, I feel like she was out there all day. They also completely dominated the glass, which tells you everything you need to know about their fortitude, effort, and physicality. Now, with their side, what my concern with the Mercury is that their offense can get a little stagnant at times. Thomas is incredible, but they gotta find a way to, they can't just rely on her all day to do everything. Besides make the popcorn, they need to look for some other folks. I think Kahleah Copper, to me, is that person in the series. Her size and her athleticism can be a major factor and major advantage, and it would help them, cut down on some of those quick rush 3-pointers that they have. Sabali likes to let it fly. So what do each one of these teams need to do to win? So from the Lynx perspective, I say start strong and play a full 40 minutes with Collier and McBride having to lead the way. For the Mercury side, it's about getting more consistency and more scoring from everyone, which they did in Game 3, and especially in the second half. I think Copper, especially the person to focus on, it's going to be a clash of styles. The Lynx is top seed power versus Mercury, and their veteran playoff grit and savvy. I think this is going to be a fascinating matchup. So look forward to seeing that. Now on to our second series. Aces versus Fever. This is a classic matchup of powerhouse using the team against team that had against a team that hasn't won a playoff series, and a powerhouse that's been there before. What the Aces showed against the Storm, they showed us why they are top contender, why they've been they're champions. They lost a close game 2 to the Storm, and what was alarming about that was the fact that they led by 12 points with, I think it was about 5 minutes left to go in the game. Looking to close the series out, and ended up losing it. It was a complete fourth quarter meltdown, but in a do or die Game 3, A'ja Wilson put on the cape, was a monster, dropping 38 points, plus some help there from Jackie Young hitting the game winner. and they proved they can win even when they're not their best. I thought they let they almost let game 3 slip away, but they found a way to get back into it. But my concern with the Aces is how they close out games that I mentioned. They also blew a huge lead in game 3 and completely collapsed in game 2, as we mentioned before. Against a hungry team, like the Fever, we saw them. They can get they can get sloppy, but they better be careful with Indiana. They need to be sharp from start to finish. And I think from the Fever side of things, they just pulled off a huge upset, beating the Atlanta Dream. It looked like Atlanta was controlling that series, but what they did, they showed that they're tough, and they're tough mentally, and they never gave up. I mean, Stephanie White had those ladies ready to play, and back in the final minutes of Game 3 with a clutch run by Aliyah Boston's go-ahead shot, and then Lexi Hull's big steal, they showed that this team is full of clutch players, and they have grit as well too. So my concern for the Fever is their defensive intensity. They have moments where they let teams go on these big runs. As I saw in Atlanta, and against the Aces offense, they have to be locked in on every single possession. They can't let they gotta keep attached to Vegas. On top of that, Aliyah Boston will have to play another level higher in this series against Wilson, because that's the key. That's the key matchup. It is what it is. That's the key matchup for this whole series. And so what does each team need to do to get over the hump? I would say for the Aces, it's about playing a complete 40 minutes. They can't have the lulls when they get the lead. They've got the talent, but they have to stay focused. For the Fever side of things, they need to bring a relentless defensive effort, and make sure Asia has to work for every bucket, every single point. With Boston leading that charge, I really think they have to find ways to wear her down. Overall, both of these series are going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to them. They're both cases of strength versus strength. For the Lynx and Mercury, you're looking at the focal points being those multi-tiered and multi-tiered superstars, forwards and Collier and AT, and then scoring guards in McBride and Copper, which will lead the way. And I would say look out for that. And on the other side, Aces Fever. Once again, it's very similar. It's about the bigs on the balance side between Boston and Wilson. Asia and Aliyah, that's going to be something to watch. But also you got to watch on the perimeter, the dynamic scoring from the perimeter. When it comes to Jackie Young and Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey has been playing great this year. She's also up as well as with Asia for a potential MVP award. And I just want to mention that once again, thanks for listening, guys, to the Beyond the Locker Room podcast. Make sure to also check me out on Basketball Rewind weekly if you want to get our thoughts on the Sky Angel Reese situation or debacle, depending how you look at it. Check out our latest W episode about that and to get our takes on it. And as always, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment when you have a chance. You can also follow me on all my social media platforms, X, Blue Sky, and Facebook. So until next time, keep it locked. Peace.